We're joined in studio by Sfiso Mahlangu, a political analyst. Mkhwebane Manyi is the founder of Decolonization Foundation, and Avitha Dudath is from the Helen Suzman Foundation. As a researcher there, Advocate Glynis Breitenbach, MP for the DA and Shadow Minister of Justice, joins us on the line. Advocate Breitenbach, I believe you're in a rush. So just to quickly ventilate the issues that you have with Advocate Mkhwebane, you seem to be the lone voice with the other political parties supporting her. What is the issues at hand here?
Well, the reason that the Democratic Alliance can't support this particular candidate is because, in our view, she was not the best candidate for the job. She didn't have the best interview. She doesn't have the most experience. And she doesn't have the best qualifications. There were other candidates who were better in all those fields.
Yeah, she's also come out to refute the claims that the DA alleges that she was a spy while working for SSA in China during her tenure as immigration officer there.
I'm sure that she refutes it, and that's her prerogative. We have reliable information to the contrary, and it's our job to bring it to the public's attention.
All right, but yeah, the ANC as well saying that you're casting aspersions on her qualifications before she even starts the job, considering that all the other positions she's held, she hasn't violated any laws or broken any of her contractual obligations.
Well, that's a very weak argument. This is a very important position. It's public protector, the head of a Chapter 9 institution in support of our democracy. It's a very high-profile job, and it needs to have the best possible person that we can find, and that's not her.
Yeah, but Advocate Breitenbach, do you have any evidence? Is there proof to your allegations that indeed she was a spy and that will prejudice her as a fit person as the public protector?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm saying, do you have any evidence to the allegations of her being a spy during her tenure in China?
We have information from very reliable sources, from more than one source, that suggests that that's the case.
Yeah, but I mean, source-based information is one thing. It has to come down to actual scientific or forensic evidence. Is this the case?
I'm sorry, I really can't hear you.
No, I'm saying that source-based evidence is one thing. This is a very crucial position of public protector. So to make allegations that she was a spy and you don't have the evidence and it's only based on sources, that in itself can be questionable.
It's based on, I can't hear you. What are you saying it's based on?
These are just allegations at this point. You don't have the forensic or scientific evidence.
We have reliable sources who say that it's a spy.
Yeah, but you need to be able to prove these explosive allegations. So you're saying it's only based on your sources?
I'm sorry, I really can't hear you.
All right, I'm going to try to patch you again, Advocate Breitenbach. We're struggling to hear you. I'll just continue with our panelists in studio. So let's just start with you in terms of the suitability of Advocate Mkhwebane as the next public protector. Huge scrutiny for this particular role. And of course, she's now coming under fire before even the official appointment.
Good evening, Cindy, and good evening to the viewers at home. I think this message has come much expected on my part. I expected this from the DA, and I think South Africa would be good to remember that even Ms. Madonsela was called a spy by the MKVA at some point. The Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association called Thuli Madonsela a spy. So I think we escape the line when we want the public protector to be a politician or to attack politicians. She should not be a dog that is sent against members of the public that we do not like. The position of the public protector is not entirely given to exposing corrupt politicians. I think we must set that record straight. And though I studied the CV of Ms. Mkhwebane, I was made aware of it. It came to my office. I really looked at it for some time. I followed her interviews. Particularly, I thought Judge Desai had a very, eminent presence there. But to go to the extent of calling her a spy might be far-fetched on the part of the DA. I think her working for Home Affairs is a sore gripe for the opposition. and the opposition opposes. That's what they're there for.
Mzwanela, do you think that these aspersions already cast a blemish on the Office of the Public Protector, and how will this play out in future investigations?
Yeah, I think, firstly, I think DA is playing to the gallery. I think DA is just trying to make his presence felt, and I'm very disappointed, in fact, that DA is behaving this way. Question to be asked from the DA is, when did they actually know this information, and why is it an issue now on a process that was so transparent? South Africa was watching and all this. So it just shows that this is a party with a very low value systems, a party that does not respect the country, a party that treats this country with a lot of disdain and distrust. Because if they have known this information, they should have come forth with it. I think, in fact, what this comes to is that I think the DA should be investigated for a rogue unit. Most probably the DA has a rogue unit as well. Why is it that they're sitting with nefarious information that only they know? Because all these candidates were subjected to a lot of scrutiny. Even our own NIA was part of the scrutiny. As we've seen, the one candidate, there was issues around that, and the issue that they're raising now was not even picked up by NIA. So clearly, I think the DA is just taking chances here.
Yeah. Avitha, do you think that in participating in the process, although later on there were calls that it was flawed, it was too rushed, haphazard and all sorts of things, but by participating in the process from the Democratic Alliance is legitimizing the process, that you agree that it is the best possible process at the time?
Well, looking at the process itself, there doesn't seem to actually be any issue with it. However, like my colleague here said, it has been on TV. The questioning wasn't exactly sort of similar with regards to candidates, but that is preferable regarding the different types of candidates that were shortlisted. I would say that the DA, if they do have issues against the future public protector, should actually bring that evidence tomorrow, as the debate is carrying on tomorrow, and put those crucial factual evidence before Parliament, which is actually their decision, and Parliament needs to make a decision.
Yeah, isn't it concerning, though, that there are certain utterances made and it's just thrown out in the air without the necessary forensic or scientific evidence, as we're trying to establish with Advocate Breitenbach, that this is source-based, so it's hearsay, third-hand information, and not necessarily based on evidence?
I'm going to take it to this extent, and perhaps I'm disappointed in the Mkhwebane administration for this particularly. And I value Ms. Madonsela, and if I may be allowed to address her on a first-name basis, I really have followed Thuli's work, even before she became the public protector. And her investigations do not only run with investigating the president or ministers of the cabinet, and that should be directed. Is it because she's a woman, or is it because she's a black woman, given that Thuli Madonsela was a black woman? There were other candidates that have been looked at. But I think we must move from the point of expecting her to become Thuli Madonsela, because that is unfair. She is an individual. She is another human being. She will have her flaws, like Thuli does, like every one of us does, but she has her aspirations. And I think that as she passed the interview, it was not just the ANC on that list. The deputy president of the EFF had a lot to say, but they also vouched for her. It dragged on until in the early hours of the morning as we watched it. So yeah. It was not just the ANC. And so to complete it and just say this is an ANC appointment could be unfair, because Advocate Breitenbach was also there during those interviews. So they must allow Ms. Mkhwebane to be. Yeah. She cannot be Thuli.
But the Decolonization Foundation has proven, sorry Avitha, just before you make your point, has taken the Office of the Public Protector to task, saying that it's not necessarily a demigod or something that sits in the ivory towers. There are flaws there. You question the nature of the cases that Advocate Thuli Madonsela had investigated, saying that somewhat she was biased.
Yes. Although that's not what we're talking about now, but I think the issue here at hand is that it's important that the issue of freedom of speech must not be abused. A lot of people's reputations get tarnished by this freedom of speech. So I think we should call upon the government to make sure that there is some tightening up around the freedom of speech. People just say as they like, people just draw as they like. If it means this constitution must be amended so that there is a lot more clarity, a lot more granularity as to what this freedom of speech should mean, I think we should go to that extent. I mean, these people, they don't have to prove anything. They say what they like, and then it's freedom of speech, and they get away with it. The issue of the qualifications, in fact, I think even if there's one or two things that she doesn't have, the laws of this country are very clear on this matter. Employment Equity Act is very clear on this matter. This candidate is suitably qualified. In fact, on all fronts, formal qualification she has, experience she has. She has sat across a panel of different parties, and everybody agreed. The DA, simply because it's got this racist attitude, because it's an African woman, they have a problem. DA generally has a problem with Africans that they can't control. They must have come to a conclusion that this particular African, they can't control. Now they're trying to cast all kinds of aspersions. So it's a racist approach, a racist tendency of the DA that must be condemned in the strongest terms.
Okay, we have a problem with the telephone line. We can't get Advocate Breitenbach back, but we have Botsang on the line. Thanks for calling. And what's your question or comment?
Good evening, Cindy, and your panel there. You know, I'm not going to talk about the qualifications and whether Advocate Busisiwe meets the requirements or not, because the experts who have done that, okay? However, it is very concerning that the State Security Agency is allowing the DA to bring this matter tomorrow into Parliament. The State Security Agency has a responsibility to protect its agents if she was. And DA is talking as if she was a spy of a foreign government spying on South Africa. If she was doing that job on behalf of a South African government, what is the problem with that? It is still within the service of government. I actually think there's a very racist, narrow approach that is putting the lives of our agents abroad at risk and exposure. And the government, especially the ANC with its majority in parliament, they should never allow this discussion to take place on the basis that Advocate Busisiwe was a spy. That will be very much unfortunate in exposing and risking our agents who are in our embassies abroad. It should never be acceptable.
All right, Botsang, thanks so much. You at home are welcome to give us a call as well. Avitha, sorry, I cut you short there.
No, not a problem. I was just going to say that with regards to the Office of the Public Protector, it's mandated in the Constitution, and you have to have a fit and proper person for that position. Whether or not it's actually Busisiwe, we're not sure. So we need to give her some time to actually fill that position. Yes, she might not be Thuli, but we hold her in the highest esteem because she is the Office of the Public Protector, and they actually represent the public's the public's rights and the public's views. And with regards to whether Thuli is a watchdog or a dog going after specific suspected cases, it would actually come from a claim or an investigation which would have been lodged with her, and if there was merit, she would have actually investigated it. So I wouldn't say she's actually just looking into political officials to find corruption, but majority of the times in which the investigations have been conducted have actually been fingered with a political MP or someone behind it. Yeah,
and this particular process as well, so in the application process, in establishing the qualities and attributes of a public protector to be fit and fair, apolitical, honest and integrity, etc., do you think that this process is adequate to establish those kind of values?
This is how it works. This is going to cast a dark shadow on Ms. Mkhwebane, and that will be an unfair judgment on her, because what the politicians want to do is that whenever you see her or whenever her name is mentioned, she is considered a spy. We haven't proven it, but it's been uttered, and if something is uttered, it lies in the atmosphere, and for her tenure, this will lie in the atmosphere. South Africans, society, politicians should not corrupt public officials. They should not desire to corrupt the public protector. And I mean this by saying, when someone is appointed and you say she represents the opposition, you actually want her to take the stance of the ruling party. or if you say she's with the ruling party, you're expecting her to take the side of the opposition. This is a Chapter 9 institution. It is just like the public protector as it is. It's the office of the Attorney General, or the office that precedes the right of minority communities. This is a Chapter 9 institution. And if she has to go after some members of the cabinet, let that be so. But she shouldn't be tossed around political circles, because that is creating an ideology that she's within those circles. And Tuli had, should I call it, the misfortune of heading one of South Africa's headline cases. And maybe she's hailed as angelic today because she brought a man down. But that's not what it should be. The president is also part of the public, but there are many other issues that the public protector needs to deal with, just outside of parliament.
I have to take a caller, Sandy, while you ponder that, Mzwanele, whether this is a political cheap shot or whether these claims hold water. Sandy, you're calling us in from KwaZulu-Natal. Hello.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for asking. And what's your view or question?
Ma'am, my view to the panel there is, other than the representative from the Helen Suzman, is that both of your panelists there sit there from a position of a political view. They have made this into a debate of black and white. In terms of the views and the sentiments echoed by the DA, they have not indicated that they have disqualified her as a candidate, but they have brought concern. Like the representatives from the Helen Suzman Foundation has indicated, the debate for the appointment for the new PP still goes on. The DA has an opportunity to table those accusations that they have
Point
tomorrow.
Well made. Thank you, Sandy.
But ma'am, I'm not finished. Your two panelists there should stop looking with blinkers on.
Okay.
South Africa is brighter than...
Can we get them to respond? Sandy, you've made your point. Thank you. Eunice in Pretoria, hello to you.
Hello, Sandy. Thanks for giving me this time. My comment is the ANC is a ruling party. They must be assertive and firm. For these 2 years, the DA is busy with all these minor concerns, Nkandla, Gupta, that has got nothing to do with a black child. And they don't have their people that are staying in shacks. So we face with a population which is poor. Really, this does not address poverty. Let them not pay 100% focus on these people who are rich.
All right, thanks so much, Eunice in Pretoria. Just your response to our two panelists from Sandy and KwaZulu, saying that you've made this into a racial debate and the DA has got the constitutional right to lay their objections forward.
Yeah, no, look, there was time to do this. They mustn't play around here. There was a shortlisting process, and the chairperson of that commission was very clear. Every time people would give an opportunity to object, why are they waiting until now? They're just playing games. I think this is actually a conspiracy. It's a ploy. It's a strategic ploy by the DA to make sure that when this new public protector comes into office, she must come into the office with a point to prove. And the point to prove is that she's not biased, she's not a spy, she's not whatever. This is just a ploy so that they can use her as a tool to further their own objectives, as it were. So
yeah, but it's not about race in terms of black and white, that had she been a white person.
It's got a serious part to it. I think it's very important in this country that you must not deny the truth, that this has got everything to do with it. DA has got a problem with competent Africans. DA has a problem with Africans that can stand their ground. We've seen what they've done to Lindiwe Mazibuko as a competent African. They marginalize her. They want an African that can speak like them. They want an African that can do things.
All right, Mzwanele, I'm going to have to hold that thought. Rejoice has been holding in Garankuwa. Hi, Rejoice. Hi, Rejoice. We can hear you. Please turn down your TV set.
He comes.
Okay. Hi.
Hello, Cindy.
Yes, hi. What's your comment or question?
I just wanted to make a comment in connection with your panelists. The issue that I do have is, you see, when the panelist takes party lines, it actually becomes an issue. You lose objectivity completely. The truth about the DA is looking at facts. we are looking at a very senior office. That office is supposed to be occupied by a person who is fair, transparent, and a person who meets all the standards. So for people to actually come with party lines, it actually becomes an issue.
Yes,
the DA is 100% right. They are doing it the right way. That's the right approach, so that at least we are sure that we have got the best.
Rejoice, if you were listening earlier on, we did try to establish with Advocate Breitenbach on the evidence and the basis of their allegations, which she wasn't able to furnish us with. But thanks for your call. Mike is in Westbury. Hello. Hi, Mike. Mike, are you there? Okay, let's just go back to, in terms of the evidence, you know, there is again that we assume the guilt of Advocate Mkhwebane.
I need to close on the issue of Thuli in terms of the case that we have lodged against as it were, just as to the essence of the case. It's got nothing to do with some of the things that people are talking about. The issue that we're raising as the Decolonization Foundation is that in terms of the Public Protector Act, she needs to act in a manner that displays that she's acting without fear or favor. We argue that that is not actually happening. She's doing a lot of good job, but we argue that part of what she's doing gives the impression that she's not acting without fear or favor. For instance, there are various cases where the DA has been corrupt, like for instance in Mkhwebane as an example. Nobody knows about those cases, which she herself has investigated, but we never know what happens to those cases. The manner in which she treats the provisional letter that she sends to parties, if she sends it to a DA, when they respond to those things, she takes those, let me just complete, she takes those on board and the final report changes. But other people that are ANC or government related, nothing happens. Lastly, when the beneficiaries are private sector companies, or private sector individuals, not much comes of it. I mean, you look at some of these cases that have been reported by even these Blackland First people, that cases have been reported, and she shows no enthusiasm because white monopoly capital is involved in these things.
Well, so, that's something, Mzwanele, I really hate to interrupt you. We have 30 seconds. And I'm sure Advocate Mkhwebane, once the appointment has been made, will have a lot on her plate. We have just enough time for a caller. Mike in Westbury. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can I speak? Can I speak?
Yes. Were you listening?
Okay. This is Mike here. This gentleman in a panel, the gentleman in the panel there with the glasses made us lose votes in the Western Cape by saying that there's a big concentration of colors in Cape Town.
Mike, won't you just please make your point regarding the Public Protector nomination?
No. My point is that he mustn't talk about races and all that. He's the biggest racist because we lost Cape Town through him because he wants...
Yes, I remember the case. It's something that you're not going to be able to live down. I'm sorry, we are seriously out of time. We're going to have to continue the debate on Twitter. That's at ANN7TV or at I am Cindy Mabi. Thanks again for your time. I'm afraid that's as much as we can cover in this space. For now, though, we take a quick ad break. We're back with Business just after this.